Oh, boys, we are back. Oh, it's been a few weeks since we've talked, but it is off season of the NFL. But we are back to talk not fantasy football solely, but our reactions, Super Bowl. Everybody's given their reactions, but Grant, you had the most probably memorable Super Bowl experience out of everybody here. We'll get to
Yeah,
that here,
yeah.
but yeah, Jake, reactions. We're all it's not an unknown thing. We're all Chiefs fans. Your honest reactions to the Kansas City Chiefs being crowned once again, back to back, since the New England Patriots have done it, back to back champions for Super Bowl winners.
Well, so I'd say probably one of my biggest reactions during the entire Super Bowl was a constant state of regret not going with Grant.
Yes.
You were texting me, and then I was watching the game, and I was like, this is bullshit, dude. Like I could actually be there, and I even almost was anyway. I don't know, man. So I had to get through that, but as far as the game goes, as soon as neither team took off scoring, I knew that I just felt like the Chiefs were going to pull it off.
Yeah.
When the 49ers drove down and the Chiefs forced that fumble, and then they struggled to get points up, and when they did, it was just I don't remember if they scored a touchdown, if it was 3 at first, but they were never able to get it up by they were never able to put back-to-back drives together. I just felt right off the bat, oh, well, you're not going to be able to do this then. The Chiefs are going to come back no matter what. Even if the Chiefs didn't score the entire game, if they weren't up by at least 14 or more, the Chiefs were going to win. I don't know. I just felt that way because they had never not done that. So I actually had a lot of relief watching the Chiefs defense do their thing, putting some stops on a good offense, even though the 49ers defense seemed to come out swinging hard. Like they were playing physical, especially at the beginning of the game. I still wasn't all that concerned because the game script kind of set itself up right from the get-go. This was going to be a defensive battle, and I knew in the end when the defenses wear down, I know who has the best quarterback, and that's just where it's at. So, was I nervous? Yeah, but that was just an incredible game, though. Yeah.
As Chiefs fans, we don't have to be shy about that, but we had talked all playoffs of, oh, I expect them to be one and done, or I expect them to lose out in the playoffs. And I'll say for me to be nervous throughout that game of I don't expect Kansas City to be in this situation, and yet they are. Why should I be nervous for this? And they got accustomed to playing a slugfest style of game where we're gonna play the way we want. We don't need to score a whole lot of points. It's not the Mahomes offense we saw when he first entered the league, 6 years ago now, or 5 years since he's been a starter, but it's not that high flying offense of, hey, we're gonna score 30 points. Nope, we're gonna score 20 points, but you're gonna score 17.
Yep.
And that's going to be the way it is. So I was definitely there with you, Jake. I was nervous, but I felt as the game went on, the thing that I think is forgotten is when you play Kansas City, you have to play perfect. If you don't play perfect, they will make you pay every single time.
Yeah.
And it happened in Buffalo. They didn't play a perfect game. It happened in Baltimore. They did not play a perfect game. And San Francisco found out the hard way, play a perfect game, and they didn't. Can't say capitalize.
Yeah.
But Grant, being at the Super Bowl, how was that game? What was that like?
Man, it was awesome. So here's what I'll do to start off. I will share the intro video that they did to bring the Chiefs out. So I'll pull that up just to get us nice and pumped here. So let me get this downloaded here real quick and get it going. But So for me, before I knew I was going to go to the game, I'd echo a lot of you guys' sentiments about like, hey, like they're always in it, the defense is in it, like overall feeling pretty loose, and they shouldn't be there, kind of house money, to use the Vegas pun, right? Of like, shouldn't have been there. But then what happened with me is when I started going to the game, I was like, oh, please God. Like, and for me, I wanted like either a close last second loss or the Chiefs to win in some form or fashion, right? Like I didn't want to blow out. That's like my thing. And so for me, it was like, I was just nervous because like I went to the game finally. And like, what are the odds of your team winning the Super Bowl, going to the Super Bowl? Because my uncle has been like twice. All right, so here we go. I'll play this and then we'll get some, get some hype going on this. So hold on, let me do this so I can just share screen here. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Give it a sec.
Okay, I think it's working. Hold on a second. Hold on. Just window. Here we go. Let's do this. Here we go. Let's see, you guys can see the screen here.
Yep. Here we go.
You guys can see it. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and play it, and then there we go. It's pretty cool. So this is like where my seats were with relation to the like. Anyways, it's pretty cool. I'll just shut up and let you guys watch it.
Is it playing?
Get you hyped and ready for more football.
I'm already hyped, ready.
We're 2 weeks or 1 week, whatever it is, away from football. We're already ready.
I'm just showing a black screen.
I'll say, is it playing? Did you hit play on that, Grant?
Huh?
Did you hit play on that yet?
Oh yeah, hold on. Was it not playing? Hold on.
It's just showing me a black screen on here.
Oh, okay. That's dumb. Hold on. Let me fix this. Hold on. I can't. Yeah, hold on. Oh, now okay. Hold on a second. Let me fix this thing. Hold on. Yeah.
I love technology. Yeah, I love technology.
Yeah, we do love technology. Let me do this. Oh, I see. It's saying entire screen. Okay, I think I know what to do now. Also share system audio. Here we go.
There we go.
Okay, I think this is working now. Okay, let me see if this will work. Sorry, I'm dumb.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, it's
technology.
Working. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Tony Gonzalez, a little hype thing. Turn your volume. It's pretty cool. So it's like 2 minutes.
Nice.
It's like I'm not a big video person at sports events. I like just doing pictures or something, but it was pretty cool.
Right.
So here, let me get this. Oh, here we go. Actually, no, hold on. It's downloaded. I'm downloading it right now. Yes, I realized what my mistake was. So I was sharing the Windows Media thing, and it wasn't. It shared the wrong thing. So give me a second here. I don't know why it's doing this. Okay, here we go. Anyways,
technology always works when you don't need it to.
Yeah, it's classic. There we go. Can you guys see it now? Okay. You guys can hear okay? You guys can hear and see it, right?
Yep. Got it.
Okay.
How loud were the boos during this?
It was pretty loud. I mean, it was probably 65-35 Niners fans, though. It was definitely more Niners fans. But this part was pretty cool.
You were like right out where they went out on the field.
I mean, this bozo puts his phone in the way and I move over because I'm like, bro.
Yeah. Dang.
So you can see, like, anyways, that's kind of the whole video, and they just run on the field. But
Yeah, but being right there versus seeing it on a TV screen.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was cool.
Totally different.
Anyway, so if you want to get hyped, like just get excited, man. Get excited about football. Anyways, okay, so back to the game. I felt like being there, I was nervous the whole time. Like there was never a moment of like, obviously being from behind in the start of the second quarter, right? And then like it was 0-0, then they score 10, and it's like the whole time you're just like, oh, like just nervous. Like I felt nervous obviously the entire game, and there was never a moment where I was like, we have this in the bag. Yeah, it was pretty nerve wracking, honestly. And then it was weird too, like with the Super Bowl, like being there, it's really weird because the commercial breaks are longer, but the problem is like normally with the football game, like you go to the bathroom or something or get a beer, and it's like you can miss 2 or 3 plays of a drive, but you don't want to do that at Super Bowl, right? So it's like you have to like time everything perfectly of like dude, the halftime show, like I watched like most of it, and like towards the end, the final number, I just left because I was like, I gotta pee, I gotta get beer, I gotta get back in my seat because I'm not missing this game. I'm not. And then I have friends that are like, oh, I can't believe like you missed like 3 or 4 minutes of the Usher show. I'm like, I don't care. I was like in my brain thinking like how the game's gonna go. Like, okay, we're getting the ball. Like what's Spags gonna do? Like, how's Mahomes gonna come? I'm thinking of all these things. Like, I don't care about the halftime show. I don't care about Usher. I don't care about all these like 15 people that got brought out for the halftime show. Do not care, right? So, yeah. Anyways, it was pretty crazy. It was a wild game. So like between throwing up and pooping my pants, I was somewhere between those 2 zones the whole game. So, no, it's good, Jake. It's probably good that you didn't go because you know, $9,000 buys you a used car or a home renovation or, you know, a nice horse or something for Jeff or I don't know, whatever. Right. So like probably better that you didn't do that.
If I'm spending $9,000 on a horse, that better be one freaking horse. That better be turned around and sell for like, I better be able to sell the seed of that horse for about $5,000 a pop. So,
dude, I would have traded my last horse for those Super Bowl tickets.
Yes.
100%. Well, and like what I did was like it was. So my story was I wasn't gonna go. Right, I wasn't gonna go. I play this game with you guys all the time. Oh, I want to go, right. Blah blah blah. I play it every year with you guys, right? And Abby was like, "All right, here's the deal. Stop bitching, just go." She's like, "If I have to hear this for another 10 years, if the Chiefs don't make it back, and I hear you talking about how much you regret not going, I'm gonna hate you." She's like, "Just do it." I was like, "All right." And then it was like, you know, a nosebleed was like 5.5 or 6 or something, or no, I think it was like 6.5 at the time. And then like the seats I got were like 9. So it's like, all right, do I like do 6 and get nosebleed, or do I do extra $3,000 and get like nice tickets where like I'm right next to stuff? And so I was like, screw it. Like I'm not gonna go back again. I'm not gonna go to another Super Bowl probably, like unless something kind of situation happens where I'm making tons and tons and tons of money and it just probably won't happen, right? So I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna upgrade, get the better seat. So definitely worth it though, because I like camped out on like next to the player tunnel like the entire pregame, so I was able to get a bunch of really cool pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I mean, your degree of separation to Taylor Swift is now 1.
It's true.
You high-fived Travis Kelce.
It's true.
So now
it's true.
Your degree of separation from Taylor Swift is now 1. So if
it's
anything,
true.
That was
It's true. And he was I high-fived him when he was going back. Like they just finished the game. He went back to go to the bathroom because like he was in the locker for like room for like 5 minutes and came out, right? And then they did the whole like a lot of the media stuff. So 100% like I have game sweat on my hands going back into the bathroom, and then he's got, you know, so yes, degree separation is technically 1. So yes,
I would have let Travis Kelce smack me across the face, dude.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Let me have it, baby.
Yeah. So it was really cool, and I didn't record this because I was just like in the moment. But like when he was getting ready to come out into the field, I'm like right there. I'm like, you have fight for your right to party. I just like yelled it. Everybody else around me was like super pumped. He looked up at me and was like, you know, I didn't really say. He was pretty locked in, but he looked up a little bit at me, you know. So, yeah. Anyways, it was a really good time. I mean, it was.
That's cool.
I mean, obviously, I could talk about the game, but we'll go back to the actual game itself. So yeah, basically, how I felt about the Chiefs is I honestly though I was concerned in the first quarter because Brock Purdy, even though the 49ers had stalled drives, Brock Purdy was tearing up the zone looks that Spags was throwing him. And I was like, oh, crap, like this is bad because he was sitting in the pocket. Chris Jones would get some pressure on. He'd move a bit. He'd throw like a 15-yard, little dump off to use check or something. And then like the defense was like bend but not breaking sort of thing. But they were moving the ball. And if McCaffrey doesn't fumble and some other things don't happen, like they have some points early. So I mean, Brock Purdy, I thought played very well. Like, I think there's no doubt in my mind, people were like hating on him as a game manager. Like he was the best 49er player, probably other than McCaffrey, on the field that night. I thought he did a fantastic job. And I mean, literally one or two plays short. I mean, he overthrew Jennings that into the fourth quarter, right? And so like some other stuff, but like, I mean, he's one or two plays away from winning the game. So, I mean, like him and Mahomes, like obviously Mahomes make really clutch runs at the end, but like him and Mahomes thought played about the same in my opinion, but just Mahomes had the ball last and that's history, right?
Yeah. Where Brock Purdy has, I think, an edge, and Brock Purdy is not Patrick Mahomes. Brock Purdy is not Josh Allen. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not that person. He's not that guy. But for what he is paid, because he's on his rookie deal, he is fantastic, and he is, he's Kirk Cousins level, probably better. I'm not saying he's Kirk Cousins, but he's at that level. He's at that, not game manager, but can make a play, won't make too many mistakes, plays within the right system, and especially now because his salary cap hit is so low, he is more valuable than a lot of other quarterbacks. So yes, I would agree. It was, watching him play, we get locked in on, well, he was the very last pick in the draft, so he can't be that good. Well, I think he is good. I mean, he's not Mahomes.
I mean, he's not going to be the guy who normally is going to, throw 400 yards, but he had the best QBR in the league. And you could argue, other than like two quarterbacks that are more production based that also give more mistakes, like most 90% of teams would rather have that, like guaranteed, like a 250-yard passing, 20 for 30 kind of like one touchdown kind of guy, right? Every game, than have someone like very few teams have the ability like Mahomes or an Allen or someone else like to be able to like absorb their interceptions or mistakes or whatever, right? Because their play is so good that they can balance the interceptions and things out. So I don't know. I mean, he's the right fit for the 49ers. Like obviously they got playmakers, but like he played great. And honestly, like could have, should have, almost didn't, thankfully, lose that game because of Brock Purdy. I mean, he made some really good plays.
Yeah.
Right.
Was it just me, or did the 49ers struggle to get like their top playmakers open, like Kittle? Kittle that whole game.
Yeah, Kittle was, I think he had like 3 catches for like 40 yards or 44 yards or something like that. Yeah.
I kind of blame the coaching staff for that. Like top 2, 3 tight end in the entire league, and you're not scheming him open. Brandon Ayuk, I didn't feel like he got very many touches either. Why? So.
Well, is it coaching, or is it Spags and the defense is that good that they took away Kittle, they took away Ayuk, they took away Debo? Because McDuffie makes a great play.
They shadowed them, though, did they?
I don't think they shattered them, but like McDuffie makes a great play in the first quarter in the end zone against Debo, and saves a touchdown from being scored. So whether it's coaching or it's defense, or both, maybe it's both. Maybe it's both. The Niners couldn't out scheme the coaching of the Chiefs defense.
I do think Brock Purdy's size came into play a little bit when they started collapsing the pocket, batting balls down. You compare him with Kirk Cousins. I would only give Kirk Cousins an edge just because of his size a little bit. But we all not winning no big games. So
yeah, well, I think what was crazy. We'll talk about this later. I'm sure was like there were so many miscommunications on the San Francisco offensive line where, and I'm sure you guys have also seen replays of certain key plays, right, where it's like Chris Jones just goes unblocked, and like I don't care who you are, you could be Mahomes, Allen, or I don't know, Justin Fields. I mean, like you got Chris Jones barreling at you, and you've got the ball, and you're looking down, and you got the ball from the center, and you like do your first read, and you go to your second read, and Chris Jones is like here in your face, like you're not gonna be able to do anything,
True.
Well, that was one stat. That was one stat I thought that didn't get highlighted enough before the game was Kansas City led the league in unblocked rushers throughout the season. They showed that on the Super Bowl too. It was key situations. They had an unblocked rusher barreling down on Purdy, which then he couldn't find the open receivers. There were open guys, but because that line played so well, they just couldn't find them. So
yeah, I agree. Like it was pretty crazy how I don't know. I don't know. It's just gonna be really weird, I think, of like how they I thought it was really weird how there were multiple instances, not just like uncovered, like, okay, Chris Jones is like the defensive tackle and like Karlaftis, like he's blitzing, and then there's like Chris Jones cuts underneath. It was like straight up like Chris Jones is lined up over the center and just rushes, and then like there were several plays where like offensive linemen just ran into each other. And it was baffling, honestly. Like, I don't know if like their schemes were off or if there's a new guy, or I don't know enough about their team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kansas City had to face two teams that did very zone run heavy offenses with Miami, who it's off of the Kyle Shanahan system is very zone run scheme heavy. So with Spagnuolo being, I would say Spagnuolo is one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinator in the league, and Kansas City is not at risk of him losing him going to get a head coaching job just because he's not one of the youngest guys, but he's still one of the best out there in his position. And also, I'm going to say this: kudos to Brett Veach, kudos to the staff with Kansas City. They would not be in back-to-back Super Bowls had they not nailed the draft the past few years. They've nailed the players. Sure. They got, and they've had misses. We've all seen the disappointments of wide receivers. Sky Moore was a huge disappointment. Kadarius Toney, both of them did what they needed to do to help the Chiefs win, and they stayed away from the field. They did everything they could to stay away. So they made some bad moves, but they've nailed the drafts. We got McDuffie for Tyreek plus plenty of other picks, and they got Karlaftis. The defensive tackle at K-State, Uzoma.
They got Rashee Rice and Sky Moore too from that trade. Yeah.
Yep. So they got so much for that, and they nailed the picks. So had they not nailed those picks like that, we're not talking about back-to-back and the dynasty that we're talking about. And yes, Mahomes carried them for sure, but it's a whole lot more than just that too. So it's real exciting times though.
Yeah, I mean now they're talking about like a three-peat, like it's just never been done before, and the schedule is tough though. I mean it's not an easy schedule. Just because we, obviously based upon how we finished right in the regular season, first in the AFC West, right? Like the schedule for next year is pretty bad. And I was gonna pull up and we can talk about it or wherever you want to do.
I mean, the schedule's bad. The schedule's also bad.
Yeah, it was true.
I mean, so it's going to be bad. You win the games, you're going to have the hardest schedules. That's part of winning in the NFL.
Yeah,
I don't know. After this year being supposedly a rebuild, not a complete rebuild, just a a reload, I guess, with a bunch of young guys going to the Super Bowl and winning it. I don't know who's betting against them for next year. You know they're going to figure it out. I mean, it's going to be really tough for teams to stop them from going to the Super Bowl again. It's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
I mean, for as much as you say it's a reload, and this was the year for teams to knock off Kansas City. Last year was also the year to knock off Kansas City. I will say, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow was hurt. Jacksonville imploded on themselves, and Houston took the division. Buffalo had a slow start. Like they had so many things go their way that we weren't paying attention to, just because, yeah, we led the league in drops. We weren't scoring at an outrageous pace, but what I think was going on more so is we're seeing the development of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, where Mahomes is able to play Reid's offense and do what Reid wants to do and be very structured until the last part of the game. And it's like, okay, go do it. And I think we saw that mostly in the playoffs of it wasn't until the last bit of like, hey, go make the play. But before that, let's do what we are good at and let's just keep in control. And then we'll go make the play that we need to. We don't have to play hero ball all the time.
Yeah. I think that's big. Is I think the difference. I think what changed, right? Which Mahomes realized was the Bucs Super Bowl, right? So up until that point, Mahomes has been playing hero ball, did whatever he needed to do, and it won them games, right? In the Bucs game, there's 3 or 4 crazy plays in the Bucs game where he's like throwing from the side and all this craziness, these crazy runs and everything, trying to play hero ball. He realized in that moment that's not the game anymore, right? Like you have to move and adjust and adapt, and he's done that, right? Which is relying on the defense. He has not. It was his worst regular season since 2018, right, when he started, right, or before he started. So he's realized, like, I can't do this all myself. I need help, right? Kind of having the Brady mindset of like, I'm deferring some money. I'm not hit. My cap hit isn't as severe. It's going to be hit later. I'm going to try to get some playmakers and sign some people, and like, that's what you have to do. Like you can't be selfish, and you have to adapt, and that's what he's done. And you saw in the Super Bowl where he made plays when he had to, but he also relied on the defense. And like you could tell, like certain stuff, like they're punting the ball back to the Niners deep in the Niners' own territory, and let the defense stall them out and get the ball back and get a field position. Right? Mahomes isn't like, hey coach, like give me the ball, let's go for it on 4th down, let's 4th and 6 or something. Like he's letting Andy run the defense in Spags, trusting the defense to make plays.
Yep.
Yeah. It's definitely.
You could see him in there. You could see the growth that he's had as a quarterback by even in some really big moments, he didn't throw dangerously and decided to just, take the punt or take the dump off or whatever he needed to do to play it safer. And in years past, he'd have chucked it probably.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%. And you saw one of those chucks, you saw one of those interceptions, right, where he was trying to force it in, and it was a bad throw, right? And you kind of tell us, all right, I'm going to calm down. I don't need to play the hero ball. I don't need to yeet this into, like, triple coverage.
Yep.
And he adjusted, right? There weren't any of those throws going forward.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I think Kansas City is... I actually don't think they're the favorites to win next year's Super Bowl even. I think that still belongs to the Niners to go back to
I think so. Yeah.
Super Bowl, which, to be fair, the Niners still have, on paper, one of the best rosters, even though they also had that on paper going into this Super Bowl. The hard part for them, Christian McCaffrey is 1 year older, and as the probability would state, he has a chance, just like every NFL player, to not be healthy through the year, especially being healthy.
Coming off a really good season, he's got a high statistical probability of getting hurt this next season.
Right.
With his age coming off a really hot season, let's just say I'm not taking him in our fantasy. And I want him. I want him from this year, but you just know it. You're not getting it next year. You're not going to something's going to happen.
The bad part is he is the top ranked player in a non-superflex league. He's the top player. And on one hand, I can't argue with that. Who are you going to put over Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah.
On the other hand, exactly what you said. If I'm drafting Christian McCaffrey, I want him from last year. I don't want to take him for next year because I want somebody else to deal with that headache. So the potential headache.
Yeah.
But so their free agency is coming up, and it's been leaked that Mike Evans and the Tampa Bay Bucks are vastly apart on their negotiations. Mike Evans is leaked to possibly go play for the Chiefs as well as a few other teams. Thoughts? First, I'll start with you, Jake. Thoughts on whether it's Kansas City, whether it's another team, another player. Thoughts where you're interested to see a player go in free agency this year.
Yeah, so you really can't talk too much about free agency pickups unless you talk about cap space and things like that because
Sure.
The Chiefs, they're always tight on cap space, and where are they gonna? Who are they planning on re-signing? They have a lot of decisions to make this year on that. With Snead, I would say Chris Jones and Snead are the top two obvious ones, but there's a lot more actually as well.
A lot of defensive guys.
You also have some coming up next year, including Creed Humphrey, who's probably going to get a payload. So I don't know how they work all that out, but obviously they could restructure a little bit of Mahomes again. They could.
Yep.
I think there's a couple of guys that they could cut to save themselves a decent amount of cap space. Like they could save $12 million by cutting Scantling.
MVS,
so, he came in clutch, in the postseason, awesome, but you can't just write off the entire season that he had. And $12 million should get you a lot more than what he gave you, So that's one guy I'll be looking into cutting to save 12 for that amount of money, or at the very least restructuring that one. The other guy, this might surprise you a little bit. I saw this stat. Is safety Justin Reed.
Really?
Yeah.
Also saving $12 million.
Yeah, Justin Reed got
him. Yep, and he ranks 83rd out of 94 safeties over the last 2 years. He hasn't been bad. He's been better this year than he was the first year, but it goes back to for what you're paying him, you could save a lot of money and get another guy that you're going to pay fractions of that. So,
and the question will be, because I think with Reed, I think that's an interesting one because with Reed, I don't feel like he's your traditional safety. He's more that big safety where he's not a lockdown. He's not Snead. He's not McDuffie.
Right.
But he's used in ways that Spagnuolo likes to blitz with him. He likes to use him kind of as like a small linebacker almost type of player. And I'm sure you can find other players that may fit that scheme and system. That's an interesting one because I know the popular one is, well, let's cut or franchise tag and trade Chris Jones. But do you also then keep Jones and McDuffie and Snead as your core of that defense that really that's the beating heart of the defense, and say we're going to keep
Right.
these guys and move forward with that.
Right. Personally, I would like to see them re-sign Chris Jones. I'd like to see them pay him, cut a couple guys, save some cap space. I don't know that because of the year that Mike Evans just had, he's going to go after one more bag. So I don't know that the Chiefs can pay that, especially for how old he is. I would love to see him go after like Michael Pittman. They definitely can't pay T. Higgins. I don't see how they would do it. T. Higgins is gonna want $25 million.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are going to franchise tag him at 20.7
I think so too.
million. Yeah.
And that would be a deal because if he goes to free
Yeah.
agency, some team's gonna give him over 25. So,
but I don't even think he's worth that though. I'd rather, and I think you're right. I think Mike Evans wants to get another bag. I mean, I could be wrong, but
as good as he played this year, this is probably his last opportunity, given his age, to get a good payout. So
it's also his last opportunity.
Someone's gonna give it to him.
Well, and it's also his last opportunity to try to go for a ring if he wants to play for somebody that says, hey, whether it's Kansas City or goes over to Buffalo or goes plays for Baltimore somewhere that says, hey, I can actually help still get you a ring. I'm going to take a little bit less to go get you a ring.
That is the unique opportunity the Chiefs have with someone like Mahomes is his people are free agents will be attracted to him naturally. That Michael Pittman, obviously, we've talked about him in the past. I like his talent. It's hard to tell if the Colts are even going to let him go.
I can see them hold on.
Free agent. I believe is a free agent. What do you guys think about Darnell Mooney? Chicago.
Ooh. Well, so I would be torn.
He's had an off last couple years.
And is that the Bears offense or is that Mooney? So that's the big question.
Oh, it's definitely the Bears offense. That's not even arguable.
Well, and then so that's an interesting question because Mooney plays the type of position that would complement somebody like Rashee Rice, where Mooney could play kind of that standard X receiver role where I'm going to take the one-on-one, spot of the field and still let Rice play that slot yards after the catch field or space. So it's that type of wide receiver that I think that's who they should go after. And, you mentioned cutting MVS in one of the latest mock drafts that went out. A guy by the name of Troy Franklin out of Oregon was mocked to Kansas City, and he's probably one of the fastest wide receivers in this draft class this year for wide receivers. And so you want to talk about somebody that played in that Z stretch field position where you're combining then the talents of every receiver that you put somebody like, that can catch a little bit better than what MVS can do, that they're just not out there running wind sprints, but you're playing to the receiver's strengths versus, hey, I'm going to ask you to do something you're not comfortable with doing.
Right.
So that's interesting. All around, it's fun to throw out the popular names. If Kansas City were to maybe trade Justin Reed and get somebody from a team, whether it's a wide receiver, another defensive guy, or trade some of those higher profile guys that then they can use but also save money, then I think that's the best of both worlds, right? Grant, who do you like in free agency? Because I guarantee mine's
oh man, yeah, I mean, you guys already hit a lot on it. I mean, obviously the popular signs, Mike Evans, and I would love for another receiver to be with the Chiefs. I mean, they were able to pull it off this year, but obviously with how many close games they won, and we had 2 or 3 games that were directly lost due to receiver mishaps and drops and just overall penalties and stuff like that. So, You guys pretty hit it. Jake had a great analysis. I mean, like I was going to talk about some of the players he talked about, but he mentioned already. So no, he did a good job. So I mean, to me, like receivers be great. Like Michael Pittman, I think the Colts are going to re-sign him because they've got Anthony Richardson and they're not paying him money yet. So I think they're going to spend some money on a good receiver.
Yeah. I think so too.
But yeah, I mean, I would love Mike Evans, like someone like a Mike Evans or like just someone who's consistent that Mahomes can rely on. But I mean, shoot, you guys already talked about most everybody. So, but I think the good thing is overall, I think as of now, they're sitting like $15 to $20 million under the cap limit as of today. So the good thing is, right?
Well, I said that's also that was before the increase, which I think the cap went up to 250. So you add in,
so like I think there's like 35 or something that they have, but of course, like that's before contracts get renegotiated. So if, Chris Jones is technically like $0 to the Chiefs right now, right? Because he signed a 1-year deal. So obviously, like adding him would be 20 plus. So there goes half of that, right? So yeah. So anyways, I understand kind of what they're what they want, and I mean I'd love for Chris Jones to stay. Like Jake said, I think he's fantastic. And he says he doesn't want Aaron Donald money. He said that, which is good considering Aaron Donald's getting like close to 30, I think, right? So a year right now.
Well, I think his tone changed. I think Chris Jones was wanting the 30, and then I think his tone has changed since then. He wants a bag, but I think he wants to win. I think he's enjoying himself. I don't know.
Well, I think what it was like he was kind of throwing a hissy fit about money for a little bit more, and then he won a Super Bowl. And I think he's realizing like how much he likes the Chiefs, and obviously winning a Super Bowl makes you happy, right? So he's like, man, I was probably being a little about this whole situation, so I can be more of a man and probably take less money and be with the Chiefs. But who knows if he's actually going to do that or not? So we'll see.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to throw one way out there, and it's not Kansas City related, but we're going to stay in the AFC West. With and Grant, we're going to go in your backyard here for the LA Chargers. So hired a new head coach. Obviously, we all know. Got Harbaugh from Michigan, and there's a lot that needs to be addressed. But so Saquon Barkley is not under contract now with the New York Giants. I would like to see, as a Chiefs fan, I would hate this, but I think Saquon to the Chargers. I don't think they re-sign Austin Eckler. But I think Saquon, everybody's saying like Derrick Henry or, whoever. I think Saquon to the Chargers would be fascinating. If you're a Chargers fan, you like what Justin Herbert does. That helps the aging Keenan Allen. If they have to get, younger at wide receiver again, that kind of helps bridge that gap with having a more versatile running game. I think that would be a really great signing for the Chargers. I would hate it as a Chiefs fan, but I think that would be, a really smart move to see what can they do with a guy like Barkley in that backfield for LA.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. Saquon would be a problem. So that would be a big problem. And Chargers will obviously win the offseason. They've been undefeated the last 5 off seasons. So, they will win the offseason for sure. Just a matter of how well they'll do. But no, I think Saquon will. I think Saquon's gonna do. I don't know. Like it's a good fit. I think Eckler is headed on the way out. Like he might. I need to look at his contract again. Did he have a player option for this next year, 2024, or is he a free agent?
I think there's a player option, but I think he was wanting out all like last year. He was already wanting out, and I think he's also going to want out. And I don't think the Chargers are going to want to pay him what he's potentially owed with the production they've gotten. And it's not against Eckler; it's the nature of the running back position in today's NFL. It's a business decision in that respect. So I think they're going to want to out, and I think they're going to want to just part ways.
Yeah, I could see Saquon just being tired of New York too, and like just the Daniel Jones show, right? And just like wanting a team that like, hey, you might end up with the same record, but like at least there's some offensive splash, and like you're not freezing your butt off. I don't know.
Yeah,
Could see that.
Yep.
I think that depending on how the Chiefs, I could see the Chiefs draft this year going a number of different ways, and I think that really a lot has to do with who they re-sign and who they're able to target with trading. So I have a guy that I would love to see them target in the draft. I don't know if taking him in the first round is reaching or not.
Who's
I
that?
think his average draft position's in the middle of the second or beginning of the second. But anyway, if you want to talk about draft eventually, I'll spill the
No,
beans
yeah.
on that.
Who in the draft would you say? Who in the draft would you want to see them go after?
Well, I'd like them to take tight end Jatavion Sanders
Tavion.
from Texas.
JT Sanders.
6'4", 255 pounds. Unique pass catching tight end and a blocker. He would be Travis Kelce's prodigy.
I would say the only thing I've heard negative on him is he has to learn how to block a little bit better for the NFL level. But especially if Kelsey comes back this year, and he has a year to kind of learn, and it's not a high expectation, I can see that being a really fantastic fit because you talk about an athletic freak. If Brock Bowers isn't in this tight end class, JT's probably looking at, hey, I'm tight end 1.
Bowers is going top 10 or top 15. Easy.
Yeah.
So after that, I've looked at a number of different, mock drafts, and they almost all of them have the next tight end, which is this guy, and it's usually in the beginning to middle of the second round, somewhere in there. Chiefs could take him at the end of the first.
Well, and I don't think that it's a reach, especially if he goes in the beginning of the second round and Kansas City decides, hey, we had the last pick in the first round, and the guy that we would want to select goes, the 210. That's not really a reach. You're just saying, I'm going to just take him where we got a draft pick. True. If the other guys that, the other positions, the other players that they're looking at are potentially all gone, right? Because who knows what's going to happen in the draft. Say, whoever's on their board says, oh, all of these guys, all of our players that we like are gone, but this is the guy we really like, and he's available. It's not a reach then. The only way it's a reach is if you do something where you have to trade up, and it's a trade up for a player that most people would say, well, why'd you trade up to get a guy that's a second round guy? That would be the reach, I would say. So I don't think it's a reach there. So
yeah, I think my pick at the end of like the first round that I like is, which I've been looking at for a little bit, is Troy Franklin from Oregon. So he's like a speedster. Most drafts have him between that like 29 to 35 range, and so he fits the Chiefs offense really well. We need a speedster. We need someone who can give Mahomes some verticality down the field, which is missing the last 2 years since Tyreek left. So I think that would, to me, like if we got him, I'd be ecstatic. Like into the first round, that pick 32, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when the Chiefs drafted McCole Hardman, he wasn't horrible. He wasn't the guy that we hoped he would develop into. and then Sky Moore was a big disappointment. So if they draft a wide receiver, they're gonna hit, right? I mean,
I think so.
Yeah,
it's
I hope so.
So if they draft a guy like Troy Franklin, I think what will happen, and I think what will do a disservice, he'll get comp to, well, this is Tyreek Hill now, because he's super fast. He's he takes the top on the defense, and that narrative I think has to stop being what players are compared to. He can be a fast player and not be Tyreek Hill, but also be very good in his own right. Play that position and the role in that position that he needs to be for it to work. And I think as a rookie, he has opportunity to do that, where he may start off slow. Most rookie wide receivers in an Andy Reid offense start off slow, but Rashee Rice this year got a hold of it, had the mindset of this is what I'm doing, and showed out. So there's all that opportunity, and especially if you play that, if he's that fast guy, he plays that Z, that stretch position, you're not asked to go out and catch, 10 balls a game. Hey, I need you to make this, part of the field open. If you're open, I throw you the ball, catch it. That's your job. So if he's able to do that, I think that'd be a good one. I like that. And I think part of what's going to change between now and draft is what happens with free agency, right? If the Bucks lose out on Mike Evans, they don't re-sign him. A.D. Mitchell out of Texas has been comped to go into Tampa Bay to replace him. But if, let's say, the Bucks re-sign Mike Evans, all of a sudden a guy like that might be available, where at the end of the first round, is Kansas City looking at him? Is Baltimore looking at him? Who are those guys? Because of how free agency falls, then we'll start seeing how the draft is going to lay out, just because, well, these are still our positional needs. This is what we're looking for. So I'm not too concerned if we don't get Mike Evans. It'd be fun, but if we don't, I think there's plenty of guys out there that we're going to be just fine. Or Kansas City will be just fine. So, yeah.
Hey, a side note for free agency, because I don't think they're going to address this in the draft, is they need an offensive guard real bad. The one they have is trash.
Well, which one? Because the guard or the tackle?
Mr. Flag himself.
Yeah. So the tackle.
Jawan Taylor.
Jawan Taylor. The left, I think it was the right tackle for them that they signed. Yeah, the tackle. So Kansas City, the guard and center play was one of the best in the league, but the tackles were one of the worst. So agreed. That's going to have to be addressed, whether it's free agency or in the draft. And if it's not free agency, I'd rather, not a fantasy topic, but I'd rather be the boring team and pick a tackle in the first round, because that's what we need. And there's
for sure
value there.
Because a tackle in the first round is going to help Mahomes out, period.
Right.
And it's going to be pretty much immediate help.
Yep. So I'd rather see that.
Yeah, I feel like he got better. Like his, I think it was the start of last season. It was really bad with him. Like, wasn't that where he was getting his head start, right?
Yep.
But I thought like this year he was pretty good. Like he had his pressures, I thought were like it was like 2.5% or something like that. I thought this year was like, last year was bad, but I thought this year he actually played well. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering stats.
I think he did play significantly better than last year.
I remember last year was bad. Like he had like the first 3 or 4 games of the season, he like get that foot out immediately, and it was bad. But
he was still highly penalized even this.
Yeah, he was. I can see that.
His actual protection wasn't bad. It was just
got a lot of penalties. Yeah.
And it's hard when you're starting not first and 10. It's all of a sudden first and 15. It's like, we're burying ourselves in a hole again. We can't do that every time and expect to win on a consistent basis. Where again, we saw that through the year, but they didn't win on a consistent basis, and so the path was that much more difficult. So
yeah, it makes it harder.
Yeah. Any thoughts as we come up on this? We're kind of now, Grant, you talked about this. There's that from being at the Super Bowl, there's that letdown, that feeling of like, oh man, we've had this excitement, it's built up, and obviously 90% of the world or NFL fans are tired of Kansas City fans right now, but much like the New England fans of old, we remember the Kansas City years through the 90s of 2 wins, drafting first, and wishing we would get, something more, to now this is what we have. So we're going to relish in it. And those that don't like it can just, well, they can go pound sand. So,
Yeah, so here's what needs to happen, right? Is because we're in this limbo for the next, 2.5 months, right, after the draft and stuff. We need to get into the UFL that starts next month. We need to pick a team, and we have, they have like a few months of season. We need to bridge the gap, right, for football until real football comes on back in August.
UFL next month.
It's next month, I think, right? I think it starts in March, I think.
I think you're right, yeah.
I'm in, because that's...
Yeah, so here's what we can do. Like true football fans, we can watch for a season and then pick the best team at the end of the season and bandwagon that team the next year.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do. We'll pick the winner. We'll pick the champion this year, and then we'll just buy their stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
There we go.
We'll get all annoying about it too.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I'm trying to look up. There's one in St. Louis. There's a team in St. Louis. There's one in Memphis, and there's 3 in Texas, and then there's some other like East Coast stuff. But
okay,
maybe the St. Louis team is what we pick. I don't know.
St. Louis. We can do St. Louis. It's okay. I can get on board with the St. Louis team.
The St. Louis Battlehawks.
Sounds like
Battlehawks. Sounds like a St. Louis team to do.
That's right.
It can't be.
Oh, AJ McCarron. AJ McCarron is the quarterback, right?
Oh,
so they've got.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah. So it's. And then the wide receivers are Marcel Aitman, who's an Oklahoma State guy, Jamarcus Bradley, Hakeem Butler, Stephen Mitchell, Darius Shepard.
This is all the NFL rejects.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, that is not any worse. That's not any worse. So you want to talk about bottom of the barrel of players, the indoor arena football leagues that are around here.
Oh.
The town of Omaha, Nebraska has one, right? And you want to talk about redneck fan, redneck team, all of that. First of all, look it up. It's a true thing. The team name is Omaha Beef.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And it is the most annoying stuff you'll ever see if you go there. Because what do the fans bring as noisemakers? Cowbells. They're bringing out cowbells in the stands. It is the most redneck, white trash thing you'll ever go to as a football fan. So it could be worse.
That's so funny.
Be way worse.
Man. Woo. Man, that's tough. It could be. You're right.
I'm okay being a bandwagon for the Battlehawks because your fandom could be way worse.
Yeah.
Do that.
Man, that's. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'll watch a few games, right? Because other than basketball, there's not a lot of sports on. There's no baseball on right now, so you're just in this tough spot. But
we gotta wait for the other Olympics to showcase and get all the measurables, for all the new prospects and all that stuff coming up. And even then, I think that only shows part of the picture. We're not going to see everything, but everything's going to change between now and March, and then March and April. So, yep. Any bold predictions for next season? And Kansas City going for a 3-peat's now bold prediction because that's what everybody's talking about.
trying to think bold. I do have one. I think well, it's not super bold, but I think the Texans get to the AFC Championship game next year.
All the way there, huh?
I think they do. They got a good team.
You don't think that was a fluke this year?
I think CJ Stroud's really good. I mean, you looked at how he was reading stuff, like progressing through his reads and making smart decisions, and the decisions he made that were dumb, like, are just rookie stuff. I thought they were like pretty easily fixable. Like, it reminded me of Mahomes, where it's like the potential is there and the little dumb stuff is just can be fixed. I didn't feel like it was like a Justin Fields situation where it's like, all right, dude came progress through his reads. Like, I thought overall, I don't know. I think CJ Stroud's legit. I think the Texans are going to be really good in the next few years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a hot take. That's not a bold one, but
honestly, I've heard bold predictions that the Texans finish don't make the playoffs next year. And I think that's more bold to say than conference.
Oh, that is bold. That's bold.
A bold one. That's a bold one.
Yes.
Are you making that claim, Jeff?
I am not. No, that is not me. The claim I'm going to make, this is going to be wildly bold, is that the Washington Commanders are going to win the NFC East. That's bold one.
That's pretty big. That's pretty bold.
Yeah, that's going to be a bold one. But
that's
I'm saying Commanders are going to win the NFC East, not the Eagles, not the Cowboys. Going to go from last to first.
Well, I don't have a bold prediction for a team. I'm just going to predict that Kirk Cousins plays for the Falcons next year.
Ooh. You think the Falcons...
My bold I have another bold like player prediction. I think the Bears Chicago themselves and keep Justin Fields and draft Marvin Harrison.
Ooh.
Because right now they're expect obviously most people and they should trade Justin Fields away, but I think they're gonna Chicago Bears themselves, and they're gonna keep Justin Fields. Think they can fix him, and they're gonna get him a receiver, and then they're just like in this purgatory of hell.
Dude, what a take! I could totally see that happening.
I think they're gonna do it because like my thought with that is they're gonna look at him. They're going to put pressure on him to be like, hey, like you're a 10 to 15 quarterback ranked 10, 15, right? You're not getting top money. They're going to put all this pressure on him to get him a deal that's like 20, 25 million. The Bears are going to be like, we can get a receiver. We can build stuff around him, get a competitive team. That's the brains that that's my thought. I'm probably wrong, but I could see everyone's like, oh, they'll trade Justin Fields and he's going to play for the Falcons or, wherever he's going to go. But my thought is like the Bears are going to Bears themselves like they always do. They did with Mahomes, with Trubisky. If you remember correctly, they traded up one spot to get Trubisky, and then that whole thing failed. So they've done it a lot.
That's a pretty bold take, I will say. That is quite the bold take.
That's a bold take that I will shed tears if that happens.
Yeah.
Because the Bears then are the organization the way I look at it, if the Bears draft Caleb Williams and he is not who everybody thinks he is, they're supposed to draft him there. You did what you're supposed to do. It didn't work out. That's fine. It happens all the time. If you're the Bears and you don't draft Caleb Williams at number 1, let's say they do this. They Marvin Harrison at number 1, say we're going to do this. And Caleb Williams falls to the Commanders for number 2 and becomes the guy for the Commanders. Not saying he's Mahomes, but he becomes the guy. Chicago is then the franchise that passed up on a generational talent, and I hate using that term because I think it's overplayed, but they passed up on that guy again and missed out. Yeah. So they become the franchise that passes up good talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting year. We'll see. Yeah,
that's a pretty spicy take. We'll see.
What we should do is for our next session, we should do like about the draft, right? We should do like a live. We should do like
Ooh, live
like a
podcast.
live podcast on the week 1 of the draft, because it's only, it's like 2 hours, right? So we could like react to the draft, be kind of fun, get some drinks or whatever.
Oh, live during the draft?
Yeah, like we have our podcast live during the draft.
100%, I'm in on that. 100%.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
We'll have to get, it'll be cocktail hour, which will be cocktail evening, and 2 hour, 3 hour.
I might just lie down and just do it with you, Grant.
Do it. Where is the draft? I eventually want to go to a draft at some point, but not this year. I've used up my money.
Is it in Detroit this year?
No, I'm good. Thanks. It's in where is this? Yeah, Detroit. You're right. You got it right.
Is it? Okay.
Let's see what 2025 is. Green Bay. 2026. Pittsburgh. 27. I think it's too far out now. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out at some point. But yeah, we should. Yeah, I'm down for watching the drafts. At a minimum, do a podcast while, we can watch it or something like that. It'd be fun.
Yep. Sure. I think there are going to be a lot of good players that are not talked about that'll come out of the woodwork. Mm-hmm. So we'll see that happen. And then
it's also good as like a fan to understand, like, there's the big names that get talked about by everybody, the talking heads, but there's a lot of people who get drafted that I don't know a lot about, honestly. I don't have time to research all these guys, so it's good to see them on draft night and be like, oh, wow, like this is a great pick for this offense, or, just kind of go through that kind of analysis.
Yep. Well, with that, we've officially recapped the Super Bowl, our reactions, give some sort of look ahead and plans for what's up and coming. So we're going to bid the 2023 season adieu, and we're going to move forward to 2024 season.